Oh, good morning. My name is Reverend Leslie Goodwin, and I am the other half of our senior ministerial team with Reverend Karen, who was up earlier. And I want to add my welcome to Reverend Karen's welcome. The fact that there are people who make it a priority to come together in physicality and using the art of technology to support one another, to love one another, to deepen together is just such a profound miracle to me. And this is why, Karen, I did not say this morning, this will not be a crying talk, because every talk is a crying talk when you live in my brain. So that beautiful performance from Cerise and the Divine Groove, that beautiful act of prayer as music, is as close, I think, as we can get to taking you all with us where we were this week, which is Reverend Karen and I just returned from Legacy and Vision 2020, which is the Global Centers for Spiritual Living convention that took place this time in Denver, Colorado. So every 2 years, the whole community gets together somewhere in the world and loves on each other and shares best practices and explores and expands and has this amazing experience of being this grand global community. And that is the energy from which I bring you this talk called The Inspiration of Community. F. Scott Fitzgerald said, "It's a funny thing coming home. Nothing changes. Everything looks the same, feels the same, even smells the same. You realize what's changed is you." So Reverend Karen and I went on this epic voyage. We were gone for a week. We missed you last Sunday. And these insights come, these awarenesses come as we talk to ministers and practitioners and laity from literally all over the world about what's going on in their centers and their communities. And some things become very clear about this place that we call home, that we call our spiritual home, and that we have called home for more than 12 years now. What an amazing gift this community is to us, to the city of Phoenix, to the beloveds who come here, to the beloveds who participate online, and to the world. Truly, what a gift New Vision Center is to the world. So I want to talk about our community and some things that became clear to me over the last week about our community, about the greater Centers for Spiritual Living community, and about what that means to the planet as we walk these teachings out together. So here's what I have become very clear on about our community. We are doing very well. Very well. A big piece of what we do together at these conventions, at these minister gatherings and the like, is share how we do what we do and how it might look different in a different community and gather ideas and concepts from each other. And I kept having conversations like, this is another minister. My sock puppet collection is epic. So, you sing. Do you run your music then? No. No, we have a music director and a 7-piece professional band. And the most amazing in-house and guest artists come to our center every single week. And they say, "How do you have budget for that?" And I say, well, 6 of the 7-piece band are 100% passion-driven service, so they don't ask to be paid. And they all go, "What?" And I get to say, yeah, we're spoiled, and we like it that way. We intend to fully continue to be spoiled. Our wonderful executive director for Centers for Spiritual Living, Reverend Sonia Byrne, who Reverend Karen and I are friends with, put together an amazing handout of the organization in review for 2019, which I thought was great. It was kind of an infographic. And we found out that there are 358 centers on the planet, 526 member communities of some size, of which we are one. We found out that the average attendance at centers globally is 90 on a Sunday, whereas we're at 143 as of the end of 2019, which puts us in the largest 20% of centers in Centers for Spiritual Living. We found out that the average growth rate of attendance in Centers for Spiritual Living is 5% a year. Ours was 32% in 2019. We discovered that the average gross revenue for a center is $149,993 in 2019. Ours was $485,368, which was over budget. We are doing so well. And these numbers, they're helpful, right? They give us a sense, but truly, the real story there is how ahead of the curve we are in so many ways on the specific topics that were hot. You know, every year there's another hot topic, right? Karen and I lost track of how many ministers and ministerial students and practitioners and key leadership laity came to us to talk about co-ministry, to talk to us about powerful music ministries, to talk to us about growing online community in a meaningful way, which means not just an audience, but actually having people who are part of the global community that become partners with us, that serve online, that are actually an integrated part of the community, which is what we've been talking about, church without walls. Talking to us about service ministry. If you don't know, Reverend Karen's service ministry program is spectacularly innovative and is wildly interesting across our community. A lot of people are asking questions about how exactly she built that, how she and Vernice Reyes are continuing to grow it and to support our leadership. Because it's not about us. As terribly interesting as we are, it's really not about us. It's about the community. It's about helping every single person who ever walks in here or ever comes online as a part of our community to recognize that we are spiritual leaders. Every one of us is a spiritual leader as we walk out in the world and interact with the cashier at McDonald's or the person in traffic or our boss, or our employee, or our family member, that we're taking these teachings out, not because we go out and we teach church class, but because of who we are. And I think every one of us that's anchored this teaching into our life has had the experience where somebody says, "You're changing. What are you doing that you're so much calmer, that you're so much kinder, that you're so much happier? What's going on with you?" And isn't that the invitation to a spiritual life? That we're being that opening for somebody to say, okay, maybe there's another way to do this thing that we call life. And I kind of want to talk to you about what it is that has opened you up so much. That's why we do this. We do it to have our own bigger life, yes, absolutely, and we do it so that we are impacting the people around us, our kids, our spouses, our parents, our neighbors, our friends. What a joy it is to make that available to the people in our lives. Reverend Steph Saint Amant, who's another kind of buddy of ours, gave one of the talks at conference, and she told this great story about moving from northern Canada to Southern California with her beautiful wife, and they put everything they own into a giant RV and their cats, three slightly disgruntled cats, for a 6-day drive across 2 nations to land at their new home center in Redlands, California. And several days went great, smooth, easy. They're 2 religious science ministers, right? They're chill. They're chill. The cats are chill. Everybody's chill. And then they realize as they are driving on day 4 up a big mountain road in their giant trailer full of cats and furniture and life, that in their joy to get going on day 4, they forgot to get gas. So they're religious science ministers, right? So they did what we do, and they start praying. They got affirmative prayer going, right? They've got their spiritual mind treatment, and they're, okay, we're going to be okay. We're going to get there. We're getting there. We're good. And then they'd peek at that gas gauge and be like, I know that the universe is protecting me. Little tense for about 20 minutes. And they see on their GPS that there's a fork in the road. And after the fork in the road is a gas station. It is 23 miles to the fork in the road and the gas station. Their truck says they have 27 miles worth of gas. But as Reverend Steph points out, that's calculated flat. Not in a trailer tractor thingy, not going up a mountain. They see the fork in the road. They see the gas station. They pull up, kind of on fumes at this point, and everything was great. They got past the fork in the road to their destination, to their success. And Reverend Steph stops at this point in her talk, and she says, and you know what we did? We celebrated. We celebrated because it's important to celebrate those moments of success, especially when you're not entirely convinced you're going to get there. And she said, Centers for Spiritual Living has just gone through this 10-year evolution of going from 2 completely separate organizations. United Church of Religious Science on one side, Religious Science International on the other side, came together and together formed Centers for Spiritual Living. And as she looked around this room, this huge room with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ministers and practitioners, she said, it's time to celebrate. Because we are no longer 2 organizations, we're one organization. We are past the fork in the road. It's time to celebrate. And all I could think of was all of the various adventures we have been through as New Vision Center. Selling the building, not selling the building, selling the building, not selling the building, building falls through, remodel the building, finance the building. Minister's here, minister's gone, minister's here, minister's gone. What are we going to do? I don't know. Ministers are here. Yay! And as I look out at this community and think of everything that we have accomplished, we are past the fork in the road. And it is time to celebrate each other, the community, the teaching. It is time to celebrate, and it felt good. It felt really, really good to be in that big group of people celebrating, yes, the absolute past the fork in the roadedness, that's definitely a real word, of centers, but knowing that we've walked a similar path and how healthy and strong and beautiful this community is right now, exactly as we are in this moment. Reverend Karen Weldis Fry and the team that is the ministers committee. There's a committee of Science of Mind ministers that form a committee every year, and they offer opportunities for growth and sharing between the ministers that exist, the 888 licensed ministers that exist. And so we had a mini ministers gathering in the middle of the conference, and she stood up and she said this: "There is nothing that we need, no skill, no expertise that we don't already have in abundance right here, right now. There is no need to look outside. We have been brought together by the divine because this group already has everything we could possibly need if we work together." The message there is that the collaborative model is the only way forward. The ministers gathering created these teams. You're into marketing, you're into music, you're into classes. You can imagine my conundrum. You're into finance and prosperity, you're into service, you're into ritual. You can imagine Karen's conundrum. But we managed to pick teams. We picked a pod and talked about how we can support each other. Forming committees, forming service teams, perchance. And all I could think of was, yes, this is the path forward for Centers for Spiritual Living. This is the path forward for ministry. This has always been the path forward for New Vision Center. Collaboration, true spiritual leadership collaboration is what we do. It's why we live in a consensus model, a true consensus model, where every voice gets heard, and we don't end the conversation until we are at an agreement about a way to move forward where nobody feels diminished. This is a radical idea. So many ministers, I can't begin to tell you how many ministers have said to myself or Karen or both of us, "How are you doing that? You have to listen?" No, I need to be the one to make the decision myself, by myself. I need to be the one to make the call. And quietly we look at each other and go, "Oh, I don't want to do that." Why would we? We have built and participated in a community of hundreds of brilliant, creative, awesome people. Why would we not all talk to each other? The collaborative model is the only way forward. And I feel like genuinely from this place of pride in who we are, that we are leading the way. We are shining a light on ways to move forward that are beyond what the typical, even Centers for Spiritual Living Center is willing to try. And they're kind of doing this peaky thing. How are you guys doing that? They're doing the same thing with co-ministry. Oh, I couldn't share my decisions. I need to be the one that does it. I never want to know what that feels like because living in co-ministry is freaking brilliant. Why would I want to subject you all to my financial wisdom when we have abundance genius right here in the community? That's ridiculous to me. And it takes a stepping out of ego, and it takes a willingness to see the world a little bit differently. But Karen and I have an ace in our back pocket, and that's that we spiritually grew up here in the community that has always lived this way. And so do you. And so are you right now, living in spiritual leadership right here, where this is how we do it. Imagine how life opens when this is the approach. At work, at home, in relationship. It's amazing. And then there's the global community. We sat Tuesday morning in the opening to the business meeting, the business for Centers for Spiritual Living. We sat in the business meeting, and instead of talking about money at this opening, we sat through a 35-minute spiritual practice that combined Eddie Watkins Jr. and the amazing band they had singing a very sweet version of I Am the Place Where God Lives, alternating with prayers in every language where there is a Center for Spiritual Living. and then another verse, and then another prayer in Portuguese, and then another verse, and then a prayer in Spanish, and then another verse, and then a prayer in Mandarin. Feeling the truth that this is a global organization and a global teaching. And they talked to us about, are you ready? Radical inclusivity. And how important it is, how essential it is, how absolutely necessary it is to move our teaching forward outside of the United States and Canada and all over the globe. And they talked about how it's scary and hard to open up to new people. And I said, no, it's not. All we have to do is follow our vision to reveal the power of love. And our global vision, which is to create a world that works for everyone. For everyone. And I thought, what amazing work we are doing here. What amazing work we are doing here. They said the time is now to take our teaching global. The world is hungry for what we know. Through sacred service, through social action, through radical inclusivity. And I thought, hey, those things are on our schedule. We do sacred service. We have social uplift ministry, and we are constantly talking about radical inclusion. Ernest Holmes in Ideas of Power said, love is the only final security in the universe. Love is the greatest healing power in the universe, and the only thing that binds people together in a community of spirit. And that is what we do here. We be love. And we invite others into that love with us. So your call to action today is really easy. After service, after the photo op, everything's a photo op around here. After our group photo, we're going to gather in the social hall and we're going to do what we do. We're going to eat. We're going to love each other. And we're going to have our annual meeting where we talk about how amazing things are and how we're going to continue to move forward. So your call to action is to join us for all of those things, because together, we are taking this out into the streets and inviting the whole world into this teaching as we reveal the power of love. And so it is. So I invite our practitioners and ministers in service to stand and be a stand for this teaching as we pray this in together. What an amazing blessing it is to live in a time and a place where we can walk into a room or turn on our computers or phones and connect with the hearts of God itself as we love one another. So amazing it is to feel into the knowingness that there is an energy, a power, an essence that is spirit expressing in and through and as every single person everywhere, and to know the power and the beauty of each life as the one life. To see the perfection of each one as the perfection of the divine showing up in 8 billion different ways that are still in complete oneness with the all that is. Such a profound humbling it is to know that that oneness is supporting every one of us right where we are, supporting and leading and guiding and providing exactly what's needed in any given moment. To know that each of us is a revealer of truth to the exact proportion that we are willing to live in alignment with indwelling spirit. There's nothing out there to look for. It's right here. It's in this room, it's in this heart, it's in this life. That just as we are, all is well, right here, right now. And it is good. It is so good. And so I simply know that every situation, every pain, every concern, every hope, every dream is being answered by the one right here, right now. That healings are taking place, that hearts are opening, that we continue to be more of the goodness we already are. And so I call it good and very, very good. So we say together, and so it is.